help me, speak up, step up. It's your turn, right? And everybody in this space can.
Well, my background's fashion photography and art.
Right.
And
and
really,
capturing those images is incredibly
so
important.
we do a
right?
channel, so we try and basically bridge the gap and get the message out to new people that are not really in the space and we're more fun.
So we are trying to speak up
Yes.
with our own voices.
Yes.
Like I'm a mom, like I have a different
absolutely.
perspective in it, and we see the value like we can give to the space and making it so much more accessible, so much more
With
accessible.
no tech
we have to
talk.
confound, like this is, among other things, when people say or they hear Bitcoin is for drug dealers, Bitcoin is for criminals, right? And they meet the mom who does Bitcoin, the dentist who does Bitcoin, the hairdresser who... that creates cognitive dissonance. The message they're hearing conflicts with the reality they're seeing, and that's it's enormously powerful. Just like, Bitcoin is dead, and then 3 months later it's like, it's not? Interesting. And that kind of cognitive dissonance allows people to stop and think for a moment. It breaks the assumptions, it breaks the messaging that's coming from all sides. And art is so powerful to do that.
The blockchain could really help the art.
I tried to think of my work as performance art, with words, but that's just a different medium, right?
Well, it captivates everyone, but it's the truth of it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm just
the
not as
uncorrupt
talented as
nature.
you.
No, but not really. I'm not as uncorrupt as you. so it's like the words that you speak, they go right to your core. And there's not many who have that kind of ability that is unique in this mess of a world of what we do.
Thank you.
And here's the thing, it's like the blockchain can influence culture as well.
Yes,
There's 5 museums and 25 people in the art world who make all the money of the art world and the rest are starving. What the blockchain can do for the whole of the art is a different thing.
Connect creators directly to their audience.
Music too, though. I'd love to see more creatives find. That's how I got in from blogging my photography and then finding out how it can create so much freedom for creatives.
That's a few things like we're trying to work on right now. So which is why I'm sure you're getting tired, but would you mind us asking you a few questions?
No, absolutely not. Let's do a quick one notes. I have to eat before I have 5 hours of interviews.
Literally 2 questions.
Yes, absolutely.
If that's all right.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm Enrica, she's Sarah, and we're working on Unblocked, and like we said, we're working on these projects to try and make blockchain and cryptocurrencies a lot more accessible, a lot more entertaining and fun.
Yes, exactly.
And not so techy.
You can be serious and fun at the same time. You can talk about serious topics and bring a bit of comedy and levity to it. It's important for learning.
But as you said earlier, we see the value from the point of view of non-techie people.
Yes,
speaking up in this space.
Yes, absolutely.
And honestly, we're having a lot of fun with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah. So we wanted to ask you how many people are currently unbanked, and what do you think the consequences for that are for those people?
Well, it depends on how you measure unbanked, but if you take the broadest measure, which I'm interested in, I measure who has the level of privileged banking that we enjoy in the Western developed world. And there's only about 1.5 billion people who have access to multi-currency, free banking with the ability to invest in a broad range of investment opportunities, transact with anyone in the world without restrictions. That leaves 6 billion people without that capability, and now we can bring that capability to them with this technology. So it's really important because this exclusivity of financial access is at the root of global poverty, right? If you have an economy that only works for 1/5 of the planet, then arguably it doesn't work, right? And to me that's really important.
Yeah,
sure. One different question. What would you suggest is a more creative way of getting this information out there and making it more accessible?
Everyone has a unique perspective of this, and one of the things I love about meeting people from the community is they don't all come to this for the same reason or with the same perspective, right? So when I talk to people in some countries, they have a very different perspective of this space, and that allows me to keep learning. And so everyone has this unique perspective, but not everybody has yet found their voice. And people don't realize how much power they have. They look to others to speak, or they look to others and think that their perspective is correct. There is no such thing as a correct. your perspective is just as valuable. Go out there and speak it strongly. And in the era of the internet, you don't need to try and figure out what your audience wants. You do you with strength and conviction. And there is perhaps a tiny, perhaps an enormous audience that is looking for exactly that, and they will find you, right? And you will speak directly to them. And to me, that's powerful.
Final question. Do you think the tech is putting people off, the tech language? And do you feel
I don't think
that, feel more confident?
you know what, I think the tech is something that as it evolves and gets easier to use, people can overcome those barriers. I'm much more concerned about the culture putting people off. So we see a certain political radicalization happen in some areas of crypto today, where it's being strongly associated in an exclusionary manner with white nationalists and very far right-wing politics. That is extremely dangerous. That's a failure mode for crypto. There are many of us, and we speak with a broader voice than that. And if we give the impression that that's what it is, and it's very narrow, the mainstream will turn away, rightly so, and will in fact fight us, and they should. We need to understand that this is a broad movement. And just because you can't hear the voices, and just because you can hear some voices that are louder and more determined, doesn't mean they represent this. So I think that's a really big danger for us, not the tech. The tech can be overcome. People with a need will learn the tech.
Thank you so much for
You're
your
very
time.
welcome. Thank you
Thank
both.
you.